Welcome to the Marriage and Motherhood podcast. I'm your host, Michelle Perda. I'm a life and marriage coach for moms, wife, mom of 3, and I'm also an Aries, and for my fellow human design nerds, a sacral manifesting generator. This podcast is for women who want to be happier in their marriage as they navigate their journey through motherhood, even if you're like me and you weren't shown how while growing up. Inside, we're going to be talking about breaking generational cycles when it comes to how to handle conflict in healthy ways, redefining motherhood your way, and prioritizing your well-being, because here, we believe that women don't have to sacrifice their happiness to be a great mom. And a quick note to mamas listening with kids around, you may want to pop your earbuds in because nothing is left unsaid on this show, which means there may be times where something I say isn't meant for little ears. Are you ready? Let's dive in. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Marriage and Motherhood podcast. This week, we're going to be talking about how to have the energy to connect with your partner after kids. When it comes to connecting with our partner before kids, we have all the energy in the world, right? Like, I recently just came across a meme where it's like, I wish I was as tired as I thought I was before kids, right? But having the energy to connect with our spouse after kids often feels like an impossibility, right? Like, let me know if you resonate with that. At the end of the day, we're often running off of fumes. After working all day, trying to squeeze in hanging out with the kids, dinner, cleanup, bedtime, preparing for tomorrow, we're just done. We're touched out, talked out. We just don't have the energy to do anything other than zone out. Cue the cell phone, the Netflix, the book, the couch, the bed, whatever you're doing. Am I right? I know I can get guilty of that for sure. The mental, physical, and energetic bandwidth we expend by being a mom is a lot. And a lot of times it can be really overwhelming. So it makes connecting the last thing you want to do at the end of the day, right? Like, the last thing you want to do is spend time with someone else or feeling like you should have sex. And that's why self-care is such a necessity for everyone, especially people like us, moms. We give so much of ourselves, our love, our time, our energy, that it's unsustainable without self-care. Okay, we don't have this like never-ending battery that we're running off of. We need time to replenish. We need to give back to ourselves in order for us to be able to keep up with this life. And that's evident in the high percentage of couples who feel disconnected since having kids, who feel like they're just two ships passing by each other, or what I like to call co-parenting roommates. The love is there, but the connection is it's lacking. It's dormant. You're basically doing life in parallel. You handle your stuff, your spouse handles their stuff, and when it has to do with the house and the kids, that's when you come together to problem solve, and then you go back to being individuals who share a home and a family. It's almost like if someone were to watch you, it wouldn't seem like you're a couple. Now, here's the thing about life and choosing to take charge of it. When you notice you don't like something and you want it to be better, right, like your connection, it's probably not the first time you've encountered that feeling, because it's something that's come up time and time again. Hence, it's a pattern. So the pattern I hear so much from my clients is that they're just too tired to connect. They're too tired to plan. And so they just keep on keeping on with life. They do the bare minimum to make sure that the kids are good and life is moving along. But then a lot of time passes and they look back and they're like, how did we get to this place in my marriage? I have nothing to show for the past several months or even years, because I've just been momming. I've just been surviving. So instead of taking a step back and noticing the challenges and discovering ways to overcome it, they've just been on autopilot. So today, I'll be sharing how to give yourself more energy, how to get to the feeling that you want to connect. Because feeling like you don't have energy, but you also want to rekindle that connection in your marriage is a tough place to be in. And I don't want you to stay here. Okay. I don't want you decades from now or years from now, or maybe you are here right now, looking back and wondering, wow, I wish I'd done things differently. I wish that I had the tools, or I knew how to nurture this marriage amidst all this chaos that is motherhood. Okay. So I want you to just know there is a way, and I'm going to share it with you today. All right. But first, to get some motivation going, let's dive into why it's important to regularly connect with your spouse, okay? If we don't know why we're doing what we're doing, it can easily fall off. And when we fall off, it's going to be really hard to jump back on, especially if we don't really have a reason that's important to us. Okay. Because yeah, it's normal for like life to knock you down and feel like, oh gosh, I got to get back on that horse. But sometimes we stay off the horse for a really long time, and sometimes we never get back on. So let's understand first why connection is so important and essential in your marriage. Okay. So connection is what brings you two together. Connection is what makes that dynamic at home so fun, so joyful, so comforting, so safe. When you feel connected in your marriage, you want to do nice things for them. You want to hang out with them more. You want to have more fun. You want to be a better team together. And as a result, arguments feel more like little blips compared to the catastrophic events that they could be if there was no connection. You two are able to resolve problems together with more ease, compassion, and collaboration instead of the constant back and forth, instead of the raised voices, instead of the criticizing, instead of the shutting down, instead of just being at each other's throats, feeling like you're not a team, which weighs really heavily on you if that's the case, because I'm going to bet that's not why you got married, right? You got married feeling like you're on top of the world. You guys could take on the world together. And now you're in this place where if you're feeling disconnected, it's almost like, I don't even recognize that couple anymore. How did we get here and how do we get back? Or improve on it? Like, how do we become even better than we were before when things felt easy and fun? And when you have that connection, you too feel more confident to take on life, whether it's going after a promotion at work, doing a career change, trying out a new hobby, going out to hang out with friends, aka have your own life. Go after your goals, right? So connection's a pretty big deal. Not only that, but like just think about the impact that it has on your kids, right? When you're not fighting, when the vibe at home isn't heavy and tense, it's a lot lighter. It's more fun. The kids are happier. They're more resilient. They can see that their parents genuinely love and enjoy each other versus like, oh, what's going on here, right? Let's go to our rooms because it's feeling kind of funky here. And it's uncomfortable to be in the company of people who have a lot of tension between them, and not the good kind of tension, right? Because sexual tension is something different, but like being upset and frustrated with each other, nobody wants to be in the same room as that, right? So if your marriage is feeling disconnected, or maybe your marriage feels like it's on the rocks, connection is the key to resolving that. Connection is exactly what's missing. If you're feeling tired and you're saying, well, it's because of the season, I agree with you. It is the season, right? Like for me, I've got 3 kids in all different kinds of stages. I've got a toddler, I've got a kid in elementary school, I've got a preteen. So that's a whole new set of issues that we're tackling, right? Raising kids is no joke. And you can make adjustments to how you're doing life to make it more possible to build that connection and maintain it. So you're actually nurturing the marriage no matter what's going on in life, because life will always have something going on. And I'm sure that life has proven that to you time and time again. It's almost like there's never a good time or the right time to have kids, and yet it's important to you, so you make it work, right? So same mentality, you make it work, because the ramifications, the consequences of not having a connected marriage is huge. So let that sink in and start prioritizing connecting. All right. And I'm going to share with you 3 tips on how to have the energy to connect with your spouse so that you can be happier, so that your spouse can be happier, so that your kids can be happier, and your whole entire house dynamic can feel better, more harmonious and lighter, more fun, right? Like, don't you want more laughter? Don't you want to feel like this is your safe haven, your sanctuary to go home to? Don't you want to enjoy being at home? This is the answer. All right. This is the answer. Connection. All right. So I'm just going to get into it. Number 1 is say yes less and say no more. All right. Now, how many times have you agreed to do something or go somewhere because you think you should? Because you feel like you have some duty to, some sense of loyalty that you need to prove, or to demonstrate how good of a mom you are, how good of a friend you are, how good of a whatever. Whether it's volunteering at your kid's school, going to every single birthday party or barbecue you're invited to. How many times did you feel drained by your decision to go? These are examples of opportunities that you could have used to be mindful. Meaning, consider whether you actually wanted to go versus feeling like you just should go, right? Like that guilt. I am a huge advocate for not shoulding all over yourself. And this is coming from a former or recovering, I'm still working through it, right? Recovering people pleaser, where I felt like, oh, I got invited, I should go. Someone needs my help, I should help. Without really considering, do I have the capacity to help? Am I in a place to help? Or is there someone more suited to do that? I don't need to be the yes woman. I don't need to say yes to everything because it's at my own expense. You don't need to say yes to attending or helping all of the things, all of the people. You get to choose. Your energy is a hot commodity and it's not limitless. And if you're not already treating it like that, it's time to start. If you've got a big week ahead and you can use all the energy you've got, you got to keep that weekend beforehand light and restorative and plan for contingencies. Like maybe you're going to order food for takeout. Maybe you're going to do some freezer meals. Maybe you're going to meal prep. Maybe you're going to make someone else cook. You have to plan to support your energy for whatever's coming up. Don't pack your schedule. Don't overbook yourself and then find yourself dealing with the aftermath of feeling burned out, because that's going to play out in how you show up in your relationships, right? You're going to be more irritable. You're going to say no to a lot more stuff that actually matter, like spending time with your kids, spending time with your spouse, spending time with yourself, making healthy choices for yourself. Maybe you're going to reach for those, snacks that leave you feeling gross. because you feel like you quote unquote deserve it, right? Like you're just going to overall make choices that are going to leave you feeling worse than better. So stop shitting all over yourself. Tip number 2, mind your energy. So like I said earlier, right, your energy is a hot commodity. And everything we do uses energy. But not all activities take up the same amount of energy, right? Like not all activities are created equal when it comes to the amount of energy that we expend. Some things we do zap and drain and suck out all of our energy, right? While other things actually give us energy. It makes us come alive. It makes us feel like we can do it for hours and we're in flow and we're like, whoa, how did so much time pass? I can't believe it. I was just enjoying myself so much. And when you know what gives you energy, game changer. You can choose to do more of it, right? You can start prioritizing it because it actually adds to your life. It makes you feel better versus making you feel shitty and out of it, where you just want to like crawl into bed and curl up and you're just like, oh, is the day over? So periodically checking in on yourself and your energy level throughout the day and noticing what you're doing that's affecting your energy level, whether it's going up or going down, it's all super helpful feedback for you to be more mindful of going forward. And this includes your menstrual cycle. Throughout the different phases of your menstrual cycle, you will have increased or lowered levels of energy. So making sure that you're working with yourself instead of against yourself. Okay, which leads me to tip number 3. Allow yourself to be supported. This is a really big one for people who are just naturally nurturers, caretakers, giving, people pleasers. And I want you to take what I'm about to say and like keep it with yourself. Okay, just like hold on to it and remember it and remind yourself time and time again. You cannot do it all. You are not meant to. No one's expecting you to. So I'm sorry, but no. Okay? Sorry, not sorry. You cannot do it all, nor should you expect yourself to. Okay? Coming from a generation of mothers who prided themselves on being selfless, doing everything for their family, like it was going to give them a trophy, like on their gravestone, it was going to be like the best thing. So selfless, did everything for everyone, never did anything for herself. What kind of life is that, right? It's a life of overwhelm. It's a life of burnout. And it's a detriment to our mental health and to everyone around us because our loved ones are the ones that are experiencing the backlash of us choosing to be selfless, choosing to be martyrs, choosing to put everyone above us because it's all at the expense of ourselves, of our health. And to that, I say no more. Okay? This is the last day that you're going to put yourself last because it is literally to all your loved ones' benefit for you to love yourself most. Now, that doesn't mean you're not going to do anything for anybody else, right? I'm not saying be greedy, but I'm saying you probably deserve to be a little bit more selfish, to not self-abandon, to help other people, right? You don't need to self-sacrifice to be a good mom, to be a good wife, to be a good friend, to be a good family member. Sure, there's times where you're going to choose to take something on, but that doesn't mean it needs to be a pattern or a way of living. Okay, I hope you see the difference. We are human. We are not robots. Okay? We are not robots. We're not that robot from the Jetsons where she just does everything. But even then, sometimes her circuit's kind of shorted, right? So even being a robot that a human designed to do all the things couldn't do it. She couldn't hang. So let yourself off the hook, right? Redefine success in your life to be more about joy, not about survival, not about being the most selfless or appearing the most well put together. Prioritize success as feeling good, feeling joyful, right? Joy is a feeling. It's an emotion. It's not an image to live up to. So give yourself a break. Let people in. Just as much as you love supporting other people, let others support you too, right? They receive joy from knowing that they made an impact on your life. And this is a give and take situation. Okay? It's not a give until you pass out from exhaustion, right? Because it also doesn't feel good when someone offers to help you out and you just reject it all of the time. People love to be able to be there for you just as much as you do. And there's equal joy in allowing that person to experience the same joy that you experience when you help out, right? Like, I want you to ask yourself, just to reflect, right? The last time your best friend called, feeling distraught, needing support, whether it's a listening ear or someone to come over and console them or to do them a favor, didn't you just drop everything? You're like, oh my God, yes, I'm here for you. I'm totally here for you. Now imagine being your own best friend. What if you just supported yourself in addition to being that friend or that wife or that mom? What if you gave that to yourself? What if you adopted that mentality of like, oh yeah, I'm totally there for you? What if you're like, oh yeah, I'm totally there for myself? Imagine what a difference that would make for you. Now, the other side is, where can others support you? Letting yourself actually be open to the idea of, oh, other people can support me. I don't have to do it all. I can lean on other people. People are here for me. They care about my well-being, right? So here's one. Is a division of labor at home working for you? If not, have a conversation about it. Let it be a team effort, because in my book, if you live in the house, you share in the responsibility of taking care of it. I don't care how young or old you are. You're all doing something. Okay, and as the kids get older, obviously that list will grow. I mean, I swear, like, my almost 13-year-old does almost as much as I do around the house. And that gives me comfort knowing that when he's older, he can take care of himself. So allow yourself to notice, do I actually have to be the one doing this thing, or are other people capable of doing this too? And I'm going to bet that you don't have to be the person to do most of the things. Okay? So divide it up, delegate. Allow yourself to not have to be the person to do it all. Imagine all the time and energy that's freed up when you allow that to happen. And there are plenty of resources for you out there to look up age-appropriate responsibilities that your kids could take on, right? And plus, let your partner know, hey, I'm burning out. You may have noticed I've been really cranky lately and I've not been wanting to connect. So can we take a moment sometime this week to sit down and take a look at all the things that need to get done and figure out who's going to do what, because I'm realizing I can't do it all and I don't want to do it all. So I could really use your support. And I'm hoping this could mean that you'll get a happier version of me, a more fun version of me. Because I'm going to bet that you don't like being that overwhelmed, burnt out version of you. I know I didn't. And sometimes I slip into that, right? Because it's like autopilot. I don't like that version of me. I don't want to be around me. I don't want to be me. So can you imagine the people that actually have to be around you? They're probably steering clear of you, or maybe they feel like they're walking on eggshells around you. Okay. And if that's not the dynamic that you want to set up for your family, do these things. All right. Do these things. Anyway, where can you support yourself? Right. So you've thought about how others can support you. Now, how can you support yourself? And I want you to ask yourself, how are you making life harder for yourself where you don't need to? Whether it's choosing to cook from scratch every night when you really don't have the energy to, or you're choosing to bake treats for the school then when you can just grab something that's store-bought, or you're choosing to clean the house when really you can afford a house cleaner. Whatever it is, take a look at what areas of life you can support yourself more by seeing where you might be setting the bar higher for yourself than you would a friend. Like back to that best friend analogy, like would you actually hold your friend up to that same standard you hold yourself up to? And if the answer is no, then girlfriend, let yourself off the hook. You don't have to be your mom. You don't have to be that Pinterest mom. You don't have to live up to any of that, right? Like, let's stop keeping up with the Joneses, okay? And choose to design your life, your routine, what you say yes to, what your values are, to be more aligned with the life that you're trying to build, not anybody else, right? Stay in your own lane. What do you see for yourself? What do you see for your life? What is your dream life for the future? Set it up in a way that gets you closer to there. Don't worry about what other people are doing. If you need feedback and suggestions, by all means, go get that support, right? But don't worry about what other people are doing. Just do what works for you, as long as it's working. Because if it's not, then it's time to mix things up. Go talk to people, right? Hire a life and marriage coach for moms like me, okay? Life doesn't have to be hard all the time, right? I'm not going to be like, oh, life doesn't ever get hard. No, life gets hard, but it doesn't have to be hard 100% of the time. And plus, as you start to love yourself more, prioritize yourself more, you're going to notice that while life still has its things that come up, you're actually going to be more confident and resilient in how you deal with stuff. So it's not going to feel as hard. This is why the way you feel about life is so important. It literally affects how you tackle life, how you look at life, what you're willing to try and do. Your whole approach to life changes for the better. Okay, so let yourself do whatever it is that you need to do to be your most joyful self. That is literally the best thing you can do for yourself and your loved ones. So let people support you and start supporting yourself more. You'd be amazed by how much better life feels when you allow all of this to fall into place, when you get out of your own way, when you simplify your life. So let's go over those 3 tips again for how to have more energy to connect with your partner. That's saying yes less and no more, minding your energy, and allowing yourself to be supported by both others and yourself. When you do this, so much gets freed up, and you're going to have that desire to connect. You're going to make time instead of waiting for time to magically appear, for all the stars to align and be like, oh my God, I have energy, let's connect, right? It's just going to be the norm. You're going to have multiple times over the week where you're like, I want to connect. You're going to see opportunities to do quick connections. You're going to see opportunities or schedule in longer sessions to connect, whether it's going for a walk, setting up a date night in, or having a date night out, or maybe imagine going on a solo vacation with just your husband. I mean, how amazing would that be, right? When you take care of yourself in all of these different ways that I shared, you're going to have more capacity and bandwidth to do all this, to think about all this, to dream a little more, to feel more connected, to feel more joyful. And this is exactly what you deserve. Okay? So try out one or all of these things that I mentioned and notice how much more energy you have to connect with your partner, because your marriage deserves your attention. So focus on that and see how much better life and marriage feels. The difference will literally be between like night and day for you. You deserve to enjoy your marriage no matter what's going on, but it does take effort to get there. But this effort will pay off tenfold, 100-fold, 1,000,000-fold, because things at home will feel so much lighter, so much more fun, so much more harmonious. Okay? And if you're needing support with that, that is exactly what I'm here for. I'm here to help you create more joy and connection in your marriage so that you can smile bigger, laugh louder, and feel more confident about life because you got a solid foundation at home. That's it for this episode. Please reach out and let me know how it goes if you do actually end up trying these tips. Join my private Facebook community called Marriage and Motherhood, just like this podcast. And if you need help, that is exactly what I'm here for. And I'll catch you back here next week. Bye. If you like this podcast, then you'll want to join my private Facebook community, Marriage and Motherhood. The fights and the disconnect you're currently experiencing doesn't have to be how things go for the rest of your life. If you're ready to give your marriage a makeover, come join the Marriage and Motherhood community to learn how to create a healthy, happy, and connected marriage that you actually enjoy and your kids can look up to. Thank you so much for listening to the Marriage and Motherhood podcast. I hope that this episode helped you deepen your relationship with your husband and, more importantly, with yourself. I hope to see you inside the Marriage and Motherhood community, and I look forward to supporting you in there. Otherwise, see you back here next week. Bye.